Hello there, and welcome back to the Disc Connected, here with perhaps the youngest boutique Blu-ray label in the world at the moment, considering we don't even have our first release in hand yet, but I want to give you all of the information possible with New Wave Video. Here, we've got John, who you might recognize, been on the channel before. John is a part of the Imprint podcast and a few other things, the Indicator cast, and he's been a part of the awards show that I do, and some other stuff. We'll talk about one of the other exciting things coming up too. But John's partner, Maiko, is here as well. Welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us, Rob. Appreciate
New Wave Video. Before I ask all the deep stuff behind it, what is New Wave Video? What are you giving your elevator pitch as nowadays?
Yeah, so New Wave Video is like I said, it's a label that's focused on genre titles, particularly Asian genre titles. So we're really going after the obscure, forgotten films, like films that we personally love as well, that just haven't been given that sort of special treatment, and films that have lost in limbo. So I guess our main mission is to sort of rescue Asian films, particularly, like I said, hard-hitting genre films and sort of titles that were big in their day but have essentially been forgotten. And not because of any sort of issues with the film, just because of rights issues or things that have happened over the years. So our main goal is to just present some of the most, controversial or, I guess, how shall we say, outstanding or... and like I said, in terms of critically acclaimed as well, films in the Asian line. And obviously we're focusing on Japanese right now, but sort of our goal is to get these films back out to the public in very nice special editions.
It is exciting to see. You've announced 3 of your titles so far, and every single one I've seen many people, especially Spine 3, and we're going to get into all of these, but many people responding with, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this for years. And here you are delivering it to the people of Australia and kind of secretly the rest of the world that are going to fall in love with you quickly. This is amazing. One thing that's obvious is you've got a partnership here. How is it running things behind the scenes as a couple?
Yeah, so we both have our own roles, and it's a really good sort of yin and yang, I guess. Obviously, Maiko is originally from Japan, so we have that advantage. Maiko works very closely with the licensors, the sales contracts, the filmmakers. And myself, I'm more on the, the production side, sort of picking the films, working with the special feature and extras, producers, manufacturing. So it's a really good sort of balance. But and it worked well for us because dealing with Japanese licensors is a real art form, and Maiko can explain the sales process. Japanese, it's quite like a long process. Like maybe there are a lot of steps,
right?
Yes,
to
get the deal.
So
we take time and then back and forth. So we need a bit patient. Yes, and that's the thing. And some of the films we've released is, once again, not because, like I said earlier, it's just some of the US companies may have just given up after maybe 2 emails, no one responded. They use Google Translate, they're getting frustrated. Why isn't anyone responding? And so, Maiko knows how to, because obviously she comes from a sales background as well, so knows how to.
Yes, I'm working in the education industry as like an education consultant, but more like, sales, like marketing.
Nice.
So I know how to talk with people. So, yeah.
Yes.
I imagine that's super important. Communication is probably like the number one used skill with this whole industry for that.
It is, especially Japanese companies.
Yeah. So we have a bit different culture, compared with the Western countries. So like very specific. Culture.
Yes.
So
yes, and very like I said, patience and just certain mannerisms as well. Like I spent hours just practicing the card delivery. So because we obviously met these licenses in Japan, we met them in person. So there's certain rules you have to be very respectful, and if you do something wrong in the meeting, that's it. The deal could be off the table. So there's certain steps, and I think it's very interesting, and it is a real learning experience, but. Thankfully, with Maiko has that great sort of skills with negotiation as well with the licensors and contracts. So that's really helpful. And obviously, working with the filmmakers too.
Directors. We visited directors, and we got the interviews, So yeah, it was a nice experience,
and also just general communication, like just keeping them up to date, what's happening with the release, like obviously just keeping them informed. So yeah, it's so obviously that's something very valuable to the New Wave obviously brand is trying to get work with the licensors. Like I said myself, so more on sort of the getting the releases together, the extras, and obviously getting it into production. So it's like I said, it's a really really good balance we have sort of between us on that side.
Yeah. Well, we've mentioned the name New Wave Video a handful of times already. Why the name New Wave? What does that mean to you and the company?
Actually, sorry. This is my idea. Yes, because we are based in Sydney, and then we chose the name New Wave because Sydney has a lot of like nice beaches and beach vibes. So and then New Wave, but there is another reason, like another. How do you say? Like another.
It's another metaphor,
metaphor. Yeah, like we want to make an impact in the industry as a newcomer. Yeah, so
making waves.
Yeah, making wave, making an impact.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought, that is a kind of like a cool name, and then also represents as like Sydney.
Sydney, sorry, wave the flag for Sydney.
Yeah.
We did go through a few names, and it's kind of hard, obviously, picking a name. So we just kind of went through, and I thought that was good, and it was available. The name was available, so we kind of snatched it up.
We are actually on the bus. On the way to the beach, maybe a few years ago. Then I said, what about like New Wave?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and then you
that's the
agreed.
One.
Yeah.
And like I said, and this hasn't been an overnight thing. This has been over a year and a half of planning to get this off the ground. So so the name we probably came up with, and probably about maybe 2 years ago. So and that was kind of a spark light bulb moment. That's cool. And we looked up and it was available, and so we registered it, and got a really cool logo design that kind of, I guess, shows sort of the Asian influence. It's sort of like Japanese style as well. Sort of, it's like kind of cool. So so obviously that's Maiko that came up with the name. So we kind of got that inspiration as a newcomer.
Well, and you bring up the timeline, and that's probably a good question because I've, you and I know each other. I've known about this for quite some time at this point, and before then, you had a lot of stuff already leading up to that. What was the start of this? Like, what was that moment that inspired this to begin?
Yeah, so we'd been discussing about starting a label for a while, and it was one of those things where it's like, you've got to have that first title, or at least acquire a title. That's what gets the ball rolling. So. We were kind of looking at various films, and how this all started was actually our last trip to Japan. Oh, sorry, it was January. Was it 2024? Yeah, I think it was. That was the trip. Yeah. So it's been a while. So we're in Japan, and we just thought, maybe we can look to acquire some films while we're over here, and so a friend of mine said, there's a director, Shozen Fukui, who did 964 Pinocchio, and I'm a huge fan of that film, and his other film, Rubber's Lover. And so I said to Maiko, what if we approach Shozen and say, hey, look, your other film's not available. Could we possibly put it out? So we thought about it, and we said, I don't know, we'll see. So we went to his bar. We met him, absolute gentleman, and we got along like a house on fire. And Shozen, he's a massive movie fan. His bar is literally filled with movies. Like, he has a wall of Blu-rays, and he puts a movie on every night because it's called a TV bar. Yeah, it's really cool.
But you visited there by yourself first.
I did, yes.
Yeah, without me. So you guys
kind of hit it off.
Hit it off. But he didn't speak English. He didn't understand what you were saying. But you guys
movie talk,
yeah, movie sort of language.
Titles, movie language, yes.
Yeah, and then hit it off. And
yes.
then you visited next day by yourself again.
That's right. I completely forgot. Yeah, so I went first just to see if it really was his bar, because, I could have been led on a wild goose chase. So I went there, and I said, Shozen, and I'm like, Australia, Shushin desu. I'm from Australia. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And he said, and then I said, 964 Pinocchio. He's like, because at the time, he didn't have any sort of posters or anything. Like, you would not know he was the director.
Oh, wow.
Recently, he's really embraced his films. But obviously at the time, I didn't even know. I said, "Are you Shozzen's son?" He's, "Oh," and I said, "I'm a big fan of," and he probably thought, "Who's the strange guy from Australia in my bar?" And I said, "Oh," and so yes, I did. I completely forgot. I did meet him first, and then I said to Maiko, "Oh, let's go." And originally, I said we weren't planning to acquire it. It was just the thing. I said, "Let's meet Shozzen. He's a really nice guy." So we went the second night.
Yeah, and I visited. Yeah.
You came with, you came with me. And then I may have had too many drinks that night, but I said, "Oh, Shozzen." I said, "Oh," because 964 Pinocchio just got a Blu-ray thing from Media Blasters in the US. I said, "Where's Rubber's Lover?" Because that's my favorite of his two films. Like, they're both great. But Rubber's Lover, it's more edgy, it's more dark, it's more gory, it's more intense. Yeah. It feels more like a Tetsuo the Iron Man. I think that's his masterpiece, in my opinion. Like, they're both great. And I just said, "What's going on with that film?" And he said, "Oh, it's just, we've had some companies inquire, but no one's really gone through with it." And then I, like I said, may have had too many highballs, but I said, "Oh, we'll release it. We'll do it." And I think because we got along so well, he sort of had that trust. Like, he said, "Oh, these are good people. Like, they like movies as well." And thankfully, like I said, Maiko was helping us communicate a bit better than I could. But that night, we were just sort of, talking about movies, like the whole night, like David Lynch.
Nice.
Obviously a big influence of him. Argento. And then at the end of the night, pretty much, he said, "Oh, look, I'll add you on Messenger, Facebook." And so he added both of us. And they said, "We'll start the conversations about Rubber's Lover." And the thing is, I thought that he owned the film, but he didn't. It was actually owned by a big company. So that leads a whole other story. But that was sort of that light bulb moment. Like, this will be the film. Hasn't got a Blu-ray. No one's released it. Yeah. It's sitting in limbo. The DVD is horrendous. I hate to say it, but it was literally from a beta master. It was really washed out. And so I said, "Oh, this could be the one. This could be the title." And so I said to Maiko, "Let's really kind of pursue this as our first title." And so, Shozzen kind of opened the door for us on our first release.
Very nice. And when you say no one has released this, just so people know that no one has released this worldwide. There's no German release, no Spanish release, no UK release, no US release, nowhere. So you are the first HD proper release of Rubber's Lover, and that's Spy Number 1, right?
Correct. Yes. There's no release because once again like I said, the problem was with the elements, and so we were the first one. So I can go into that story a bit more about.
Yeah, please.
So basically we so I said, "Oh, great, we'll deal with Shozzen. We'll get the movie from him. We'll restore it." And he said, "No, sorry, it's actually owned by, like I said, this company." And we, okay, and we checked the company. It's this huge publicly traded, massive, corporation. Oh no. And so, because we thought it'd be an easy deal at the bar, sign the contract. But so negotiations began. And this is where Maiko comes into place, because dealing with Japanese companies, like I said, it's a very slow process. And negotiations began in February 2024. It went for a year. And so obviously we were going back and forth. And obviously in Japan, it's very committee based. So they have to go back to the board, get approval, come back to us. It's not like America. It's like, "Yep, do it. Here's the contract. Let's boom, boom, boom." It's very much a step-by-step process. And so, and so after months and months of negotiations, we found it. They said, "Yep, look, we can sign you the film. It's all good. Let us check the elements." "Oh, cool." And they came back. They said, "Oh, we don't have anything. We've got like a beta master. How's that?" And we said, "Oh, no, we need the elements." And we spoke to Shozzen, and he said, they have to have it. Like, we gave them everything. They have to have the negative. They have to have. And so basically we went back and said, "Can you please search?" And they said, "Yep, sure." And they looked at, "Oh yeah, we've got the negatives." "Yes, great." So, I know. And then we said, "Okay, great." So they're going to scan it. They're going to do everything. Like, no, you guys are going to do it. So, and we're like, okay. So our first film, already because a lot of people, they do their first film, they sign a film, master's done, they give them the file, it's ready to go. But this was a real learning curve, because we had to now restore a negative from scratch. And so then more months passed by, and then obviously we're dealing with insurance, shipping, and then finally we get the negative sent to us, and we begin the restoration. So look, it wasn't a...
But the first negative was the different that we expected.
Yes, and even more problems. So they ship us a negative, and we take it to the restoration place, and the guy scans it, goes through, he goes, guys, this is sound, this is not video. And we're like, oh my God. And so we go back to them. That's right, I forgot about that. And they said, oh yeah, look, we have. And they said, oh, really? And they said, yes, you have to have the picture. It has to be there. And they searched and they said, oh, here it is. We found the picture negative. And so it just delayed the processing more. So there was a real learning curve, like a bunch of mishaps. But But we finally got there in the end. And once again, this was a year process of negotiating, working with them, working with the contract. And once again, just patience, extreme patience. And we knew in the end it would be worth it, because we'll get a film that obviously no one else has released, like you said, on Blu-ray. But obviously the process we had to go through, is what was required in order for us to do that. So yeah, it's a bit of a real learning curve.
That's a lot. That's got to be intimidating for your first title, and have them not only the long negotiation process, but then have so many setbacks. And it seems like lately with a lot of these very new labels that tends to happen. I don't know what it is, but it's like an initiation process or something. So good job. You made it past it. Congrats.
I think so. I think it was, but it was good because, like I said, it was a real initiation process, because everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it was great because now we know for future what to do. And then the thing was, like, how do we get this scanned? And so that was another learning process. And so I asked around, in a good, I'm sure he won't mind me dropping his name, James from Carmillion Films. They obviously run that really cool Asian boutique label based in Melbourne. And so I've been friends with him for a while, and so we had a phone call. I said, look, what would you recommend for this? He said, oh, look, there's a guy in Sydney that does restoration work. I'm like, oh, wow, because we were looking, all the restoration work was in Melbourne, basically, which means kind of like, you'd have to drive, with a negative 10 hours to get it scanned. And so he said, oh, look, there's a guy in Sydney. So we sussed it out, and we went round, and I met Ray. And Ray does a lot of restoration work for, I guess, like government projects for the film archive. And I've seen his work, and it's phenomenal. So, just 35mm film, 60mm film. And I said, how would you feel doing a Japanese film? He said, oh, it's film is film. Like, I'll restore it, just bring it in. And we took the negative of Ray, and Ray did a phenomenal job on the restoration compared to, like I said, what it looked like before. He scanned the 16mm in 4K. Obviously, we went through, we checked it. He did color grading, correction, clean up on the specs. So we're like, wow, this is fantastic. So now we have a local guy that can do restorations in his office. He's got this big 4K scanner, and it makes it easy now. So now when we negotiate with these film companies, we can say, hey, we can restore it for you. Send us the negative and we'll do it for you. So it really helped build this relationship because, look, Ray's a great guy, and he's a master at what he does. And like I said, he is working on more films, some Aussie films he's restoring right now. I saw some of the previews, and they look phenomenal. So he's nice. A real master at what he does.
Well, let's dive into Rubber's Lover a little bit more. We mentioned some of the themes of the film, but first of all, like Fukui, didn't he work with Tsukamoto a little bit?
He did, yes. He worked on Tetsuo the Iron Man. He was one of the crew, and he has that sort of cyberpunk influence. And a lot of his early works very much sort of punk sort of influence. Like I guess there's one called Metal Days, which hasn't officially had a release, but he is planning on releasing it. He just had this, and he worked with what's the director did Crazy. Ishii Soga, who did Crazy Thunder Road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're always sort of like real up-and-coming sort of punk sort of filmmakers and sort of visionaries, and he took that influence, and then he obviously made a bunch of short films, student films like Caterpillar, which is really incredible, and then he took that and obviously made his first film, 964 Pinocchio, and so he does come from that sort of, I guess, that generation of filmmakers like Tsukamoto, Sono, like all these sort of up-and-coming, like Miike, like that sort of generation of filmmakers that were up-and-coming during the sort of video era. And so he obviously took that influence. And when we interviewed him, he did mention he was influenced by a lot of American films as well, like American New Wave. So he's quite the visionary. And I think, like you said, despite his films being so intense and extreme, he's an extremely like a gentleman and really soft-spoken, very lovely, charming person. So I never imagined that he made such a intense movie. Yeah. So kind of surprised. Yeah, quite a shock. So yeah, that's right. Because you see his films, you think, oh, this guy must be crazy, and you see it, and it's not like that at all. So yeah, absolute real gentleman, and the nicest guy in the world.
Well, and that brings us to the release here. We've got this Blu-ray coming. You are delivering a really, really nice release for the first Blu-ray release of this in the world. You've got an interview with Fukui. You've got Jasper Sharp, who is like the guy for many of these films, doing a featurette on this. You've got Suzanne doing another visual essay. Incredible. And then you got a booklet with Stanley in there, and then my dear friend, Miss Michelle Kisner. These are great. I would love to hear. Obviously, you're in deep with the physical media world with me. Who is like the company that you're trying to emulate, or who inspired these releases? What are you trying to be like?
Yeah, I mean, because I've been following home video for a while, like a long time, pretty much my whole life. I mean, from the early days of local labels over here, Anchor Bay and those sort of labels as well. And then so look, I'm a huge physical media collector myself. Maiko knows I probably have too many Blu-rays and 4Ks, way too many. But I guess some of the labels we like, obviously, like even like TerraVision, like I just love that sort of curation from a label. The guys are like Era 444, just really great sort of like Asian titles, Eureka. So these are the sort of labels that I'm a big fan of myself personally. If I was to do a label, it would be along that line. Very curated. We're not, pumping out, buying a catalog of 50 titles and pumping them out. We're actually hand-picking films that we think are very cool and that we think the audiences would enjoy as well. Those sort of labels sort of really influence myself. Just creating a brand that people can have all lined up on the shelf and think, oh wow, these are cool movies.
Well, for anybody that's excited about Rubber's Lover, you can buy a bundle on the website now that includes Rubber's Lover and Spy Number 2. And this one is a director you might be slightly more familiar with. Tell us about your second movie coming out.
Yeah, so the second film is Strange Circus by Shion Sono. And this is quite interesting because the process of Rubber's Lover was taking so long, I said to Maiko, look, we should probably look at getting another film in case it all falls apart, because we should probably look at getting a second film, or at least a backup film as a launch title. And so and I was thinking, and we've in this weird place where there's a lot of films that were huge during the DVD era, but they never quite made the jump to Blu-ray, and they've kind of been forgotten. And one of those titles was Strange Circus. And Strange Circus was a film that I remember seeing when someone gave me a DVD copy, and they said, this film's pretty extreme. This is like a pretty out there film. And I watched it, and I was blown away by it, because it was this mystery, and it's really beautifully shot, and it's well directed, and obviously Sono is the master of sort of storytelling, and his films are never boring. They just move at a rapid pace.
Right.
And so I said, and I thought, and I was thinking, and I was going through a list. I said, Strange Circus, this one, I think there might be demand for this film because it's quite notorious. And there's people, there's a YouTuber called Spooky Rice that did a video and had 500,000 views. So I'm like, why is it what's the deal with this? And so we made contact. We found the company that owned it. We made contact, and this was probably probably about 6 months ago, I'd say, or maybe no, it was last year, wasn't it? Middle. I'm trying to remember. Maybe middle of last year. Maybe I think it was. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, there's a
Strange Circus, Siddiq.
It's the end of the year.
Oh, end of the year. That's right. Yes. Sorry, my timelines are. So it was a title that I just thought, what's going on with this film? And so we made some inquiries, and we found the rights owners.
I think April.
Maybe April of 2024, was it? I think.
This year.
No, it was last year.
Last year.
Yeah, sorry. This is how. Sorry about just because the negotiation is such a long process.
Right.
I think it was maybe. I think it was last year. Definitely was last year.
April was only 4 months ago, so that would be pretty quick.
Company, last year.
Last year. Sorry.
We met them in person was in April.
That's right. Yeah, but I was just saying when we started inquiring. Yeah, so it was last year. So early last year. And so we reached out, and CITIC, they're an interesting company. They produced like Gemini, the Tsukamoto film, what's that film, The Goblin, the other Tsukamoto film as well. So they have a really interesting catalog. And I saw Strange Circus on the list. I said, this is a film, because I personally love it. So we made some inquiries. And these guys, they're a smaller company, so things moved a bit faster, which is great. So we had a really good call with them. And we had some negotiations, and they said, yeah, look, we can sign you this title. And I said, yes. So we obviously took the offer, and we acquired Strange Circus as the next title. And so we once we acquired it, we thought, obviously we're looking at sort of who could we get involved for the release. And then we said, I wonder if Sion Sono would be interested in doing an interview, because look, we won't go into it, but there has been some sort of controversy around Sion. We won't discuss it. Once again, Criterion decided to release Rosemary's Baby and have it fully approved by Polanski with his extras all over it, his commentary. Then and if Imprint decided to do a Polanski box, so anyway, I'm not going to go into it because there's certain things there we won't comment. So we thought, look, we try and separate the art from the artist, New Wave, and what we're trying to do is create a package that has, I guess, the best sort of documentation on the film, so people know the history of it, the filmmaking, I reached out to someone who knew Sono, which was Nicodem. And Nicodem, he works with a lot of labels in Japan. He does a lot of sort of inquiring and sort of extras for them as well. I said, look, would Mr. Sono be interested in doing an interview? And he said, look, I can check, because obviously Sono is a bit private right now, but I can check for you. And so we said, look, even if we don't get Sono, we've got the film, we're going to release it. We'll get some extras done. And then Suzanne was a big fan of the film as well. So I said, do you want to do an essay? She said, yeah, absolutely. So we were kind of doing the extras, and then we got the word back, hey, yes, actually Sono was interested in being involved. We're like, and to us, look, I mean, that's, it's huge for me personally, because Sono was a massive influence for me growing up. His films like Suicide Club, Love Exposure, these big sort of tentpole films, just kind of like epics, and he was like, there's Mike and there's Sono, and he's up there, like he's one of the greats, like he's one of the great filmmakers, and so it would be an honor to have a Sono film in our catalog. And so we and that's how we sort of acquired the film, and then Sono did an interview for us, which was quite amazing, because we didn't think we'd get the interview, but we ended up getting it. And then obviously he also approved the release too. So it's a big one. So it's a very the film, how would you describe? It's kind of quite a shocking, not kind of mystery.
It's kind of mystery and
trauma.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, sort of. It unfolds. It's an interesting film. Like, I recommend. It's a hard-hitting film, and once again, it kind of goes back to our mission. We're kind of trying to acquire sort of hard-hitting films that are quite controversial. Because, like I said, I love sort of extreme cinema, but I say the word cinema, not there are these sort of movies that are shot in bathrooms on phones, like actual movies like cinema. So like really like films like Martyrs, is one of my all-time favorites. All that, it's like wow. So I like extreme, and so we're trying to get to the hard-hitting titles. And Strange Circus is definitely one of those real, impact films that it'll stick with you for a while after you see it. You definitely won't forget it. So we were honored to get that as our second release. And by the time all the contracts and negotiation was done, Rubber's Lover was done. So kind of we paired them together. It kind of made sense just to release them at the same time.
It is so neat to see a label come out with two titles that are sought after, that are rare, that are hard hitting, and that everybody has to sort of immediately be, I don't know, like on their toes and validate you as a label, because it's not just something easy. You are putting something out there that took a lot of work, took a lot of balls, took a lot of just really saying, you know what, we're really going for it, and that is a bold choice. And based on what you're saying, it sounds like that's kind of the whole point of the label. Am I hearing that right? That is kind of what you're always going to do.
Absolutely, and sort of our thing is first time on Blu-ray as well. That's sort of our sort of mission as well. So first sort of release, and like I said, it's exactly that. It's rescuing these films because they're sitting in limbo. I don't think anyone else wants to touch them, to be honest. Like, that's exactly it. Kind of rescuing these films, and kind of giving them the definitive release as possible. But yeah, absolutely, it was a lot of time and effort, and we want to make an impact with the first two titles. And like I said, we want something that just hasn't been released 5 times in different territories. We want to make it a really special release, and that's sort of what we're going for. And even the ones in the pipeline are so far first time on Blu-ray, so that's sort of our goal, is to really kind of do that.
Well, speaking of that, your third spine, you just announced that one on social media, and blaze of questions from everybody immediately, because this is one that has been sought after for a long time, and kind of around the same time we have the U.S. company Discotech working on a very similar type of release. So could you tell us what that is, what is on the release, and how it will be different from the Discotech release?
Definitely. So, number 3 we just announced, and the reason we didn't want to announce it early, but because Discotech announced their one, we just wanted to just get ahead of the curve, because obviously, like when Vinegar Syndrome did The Keep, Imprint a year ago said, "Hey guys, just to let you know, we're doing The Keep as well." So at least it gives the buyers some options, obviously, because that's why I love such a free market. And so we announced it a bit early, just to let people know that, hey, guys, just well, like I said, and don't get me wrong, I love Discotech. I've got all their a lot of their releases. They're the only ones really rescuing classic anime. And so look, by all means, if you're in the US, definitely, but our one is going to be a little bit different. I'll explain why. And it's interesting because how we acquired it was the company that owns Rubber's Lover owns Yorotsuki Doji.
Wow.
Urotsuki Doji.
I was going to pronounce it. That's the correct pronunciation, by the way, in case one more time.
Urotsuki Doji.
Urotsuki Doji.
I slaughtered the name on my show last night, so thank you so much.
and yeah, so we basically we met the company that owns Rubber's Lover. When we were in Japan, we went in their office and had negotiations, and they said, "Oh, look, we're very happy with what you guys did with the restoration of Rubber's Lover. Here's our catalog. What else are you interested in?" And so it was an open book thing. We're like, okay. And so I went through, I looked at Maiko, I said, "You guys own Yorotsuki Doji?" And they said, yeah, we own it. We own the whole series. And I looked at Maiko, I said, "Oh, I think this will be a big hit."
One.
This is the one. Yeah. Because personally, myself, this film, I saw, I think, I'm sure every maybe teenage boy saw it when they were younger, but when I was in high school, a friend of mine gave me the VHS. It did come out in Australia on tape, a VHS, and so someone actually gave me a copy and said, "Check out this cartoon." And I think maybe I was like 14 or 15, I can't remember, but I watched it and I was just like blown away. I was like, wow, this, because I'd never seen anything quite like it. And a lot of my friends at high school were like, "Oh, that film's like twisted. It's graphic." And obviously when it came out, people just could not comprehend it when it came out, because obviously this is it was made in the 80s, but it didn't get sort of wide video releases until the early 90s, and even theatrical. It did get a theatrical release in Australia as well, which just boggles the mind. And so people were just shocked by it, and I was blown away because it was dark. It was also erotic. I'm like, because I never seen something in a cartoon. I was like, why is this? What's going on here? This is very unusual, and I was like very intrigued by it, and violent as well. So it ticked all the boxes for me as a like a 14-year-old. Even though it was R-rated, I obviously shouldn't have been seeing it. But and so that did have an impact on me, and a lot of the people we speak to and know, they have seen it at some point in their life. Like they do know of it, they've heard of it, the notoriety of it, and so I said to Maiko, I said, "Look, this is a big title. Like we should really go after this, because I think it's one of the tentpole. It's up there with, Wicked City. So that's an 80s era of animation. Unfortunately, it does get put into the hentai genre, but the theatrical version is more. It cuts a lot of that out. It's more of like a post-apocalyptic sort of movie. It's a shame because the animation is beautiful. It was animated by the best studios in Japan under pseudonyms. So the guys, Madhouse, who did, Perfect Blue, and all, these guys worked on Yorotsuki Doji early on. And so if you watch the film, the animation is breathtaking. It's fast motion. It's all hand. This is cell-based. It's not no CGI. It's all hand-drawn, like hundreds of animators like drawing it out. So it's a real work of art. And that's why when I saw it on the list, I said, oh, like this is... And I knew Discotech had their release coming. So I said, look... let's acquire it, because I personally love this film and I want to make it really special. Let's go for it. And so we acquired it, but the deal was, I said to the licensors, I said, look, guys, I want but I need Discotek's master. I can't accept the video master because I think in Europe they had released some Blu-rays, but they were just AI upscaled. They literally took the old video masters, did it. Horrible, horrendous. And so I said, look, we'll acquire it, but we need this new 2K restoration. We need this restoration as part of our deal. And they said, look, we'll speak to Discotek. And they were nice enough to, give up the master to us. And so we acquired the title. So I guess where it differs, look, we take our time with our releases. And obviously we want extras. So we have got people working on it doing, essays, interviews. We're doing a mini documentary as well on the controversy of it as well.
Nice.
So that'll be included. So we've actually got a local critic, Ron Peterson. He saw it in the original theatrical run, and he has a lot of stories to talk about how it played an anime festival, and it was quite a story, and he's going to tell that on camera as well. And we want to make it an incredible physical package as well. So obviously it's going to be a big box. It's going to have an art book. We've got hundreds of pages of sort of character designs and concepts and storyboards. So really want to include that as well. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be on 50 gigabyte discs. We don't use 25 gig discs. We only use 50 gig because we want the best compression. Yeah. And even though the sequels are standard def, they're huge, 90 gig files, and they look good for like video masters. And so basically we will be presenting those in the highest quality bit rate spread over a few discs instead of just crammed on one disc. So we're going to try and have the best presentation. But overall, it's just a labor of love, and it's something that we really want to make special. I mean, as you see up there, that's an original poster of the demon over the city. Got that many years ago. It's always been a fan favorite. So when New Wave does a release, you know that it's going to be extra special. So we're going to put in the extra mile. And I get it. Some companies, they need to get out to retail as fast. They need to, they've got a pipeline. They need to work quickly. But with us, we take our time, work with the filmmakers, directors. So if people are patient, and once again, like I said, I'm not discouraging people from the US release, but if they, it's a free market, you can get the keep from Viavision, or you can get the keep from Vinegar Syndrome, up to you. And so similar to us, you can get the film from us or get it from the US. And our release, I did say region B market because this will be sort of for other territories as well. So we can explain a bit more. But it's going to be we want it to feel like the ultimate edition, because this is going to be the be all end all for the series, and we know there are fans of it, so we want to make it extra special.
That is basically what I took away from this. Is it's going to be the full package. That Discotek doesn't have that. To get Discotek's full package, you got to buy two different things, which not a huge deal. But if you want it all in one, this is the way to get that. You got more bonus features. You got better compression. So lots of reasons to pick up your release over Discotek if you're a stickler for the technical side, especially. So, I mean, this sounds fantastic. I mean, that's just the first three releases. Literally all three of these, obscure, hard to find. Some of them shrouded in conspiracy and controversy and all so much just rich history behind these titles. Really great choices. Can we get anything about what's coming up in the future for New Wave Video?
Definitely, yeah. So I was just going to mention as well with the compression. So we've partnered with, I won't say their name, but they do the authoring for Imprint as well. And
nice.
Big Boy label. So they've been they're actually authoring the disc right now for us, the first two releases. And so they're the masters of sort of compression. It's not Fidelity Emotion. I know they're fantastic, but these guys do a lot of work for the local labels, and they know their stuff. So obviously the bit rate, it's very important to us. Me being quite technical, that's kind of important. Yeah. Just want to mention that these will be properly authored discs. There's not someone in the garage, burning discs, because a lot of people are like, these burn on demand. No, these are proper press discs, properly authored. Right. We're going the extra mile. So I just wanted to mention as well that they will be really well compressed as well, because it's very important.
Great.
In terms of upcoming titles, yes, look, we're more than happy to announce number 4 on your show. So number 4 will be another Sono movie, and Sion Sono, because a lot of his films are stuck in limbo. And it will be a 2005 film called Nautico's Dinner Table. And that is a film, it's actually the Suicide Club prequel.
Yeah.
And look, in my opinion, or our opinion, we think it's better than Suicide Club. It's a real, like, Sono had really mastered his skills as a filmmaker, and it's an incredible film, and one that I've been looking at a lot of groups and forums, and people are like, where's Noriko? So we met with the licensor in Japan. We went out to dinner with them, and yeah, they were lovely, really nice people.
Yeah, very super casual, and then like, we had a drink and went to a bar together with the Seon as well.
Yes,
like in Shinjuku.
Yeah, and so what opened the door was because we went out and we met these licensors who own a lot of Sono's films, and basically we and then Nikodem was there as well, and he said, "Oh, look, I'll try and get Sono out." And I said, "Oh, look, no pressure. He doesn't have to come out." And then he showed up, and we're like, "Oh my goodness!" And so, and then we were, we went out that night drinking with Sono and the licensor, and we were just like, is this really happening? So
yeah,
it's kind of like, because like I've always admired this filmmaker, the fact we're drinking with him in a bar, talking about his films, going into depth and details, and also getting his approval. Like, do you want these two together? Do you want this separate? How do you want to do this? And do you approve his artwork? So yeah, it was just kind of surreal, and so yeah, we struck up a good relationship with those licensors as well. So Noriko Dinner Table is a part of that, another Sono film. So we want to rescue Sono. Once again, art from the artist. We just want to put the films out, and it's up to your choice if you want to purchase or not. You don't have to, but we want to give people the option, at least make these films available, not bury them, because because Noriko's Dinner Table is it's, when I first saw it, it really had a big sort of emotional impact on me. It's a very it's a very emotional film. I can't wait for people to see it, and they did send us the negative to it as well. So I've got it right here. I can show it off.
Nice.
It's the
Look
negative.
At that.
So yes, and so this is the literally just said Noriko.
Yeah, in Japanese, yes.
Yeah, Noriko's Dinner Table. So we've got this. So they shipped it over. We got it FedEx, and it's always very nerve-wracking to have a negative in the post. So if this is gone, it's gone. Essentially, that's it. And so we will be restoring this. This is the sort of showing people under it. So negative looks like this is just reel 1 of 10. It's a long film. It's 2.5 hours. So this is one of sort of 10 reels. So we'll be releasing that. We'll give it the special treatment, and then once again we'll give us the deluxe treatment as well. The interesting thing about Noriko, it was people wondering, it was kind of like Wolf Creek. It was shot digitally, but then it was transferred to film. So because back in 2005, cinemas had not quite made the jump to digital yet. And so essentially, this film was shot digitally, but then they transferred it to film. So what we're doing is restoring the film negative. So it's going to it's the best possible element we could get. So we're very excited to see how it looks like. And Ray is currently restoring it right now.
Very nice. This is, the first 4 titles are like long, sought after stuff that people just could not get, and you somehow got through the door and got it in. That's got to feel really great to get those out of the way and literally have the foundation of the company be these like monumental achievements to be able to put out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we so like I said, we were a bit ambitious, and we persisted, but thanks to some negotiating and yourself obviously negotiating too, being very patient.
Your taste of movies, like you're really super otaku, so quite surprised that he has a lot of knowledges and eye for movies. Is it correct? Like eye for movies, like I like mainstream, so that's why he brings a lot of movies which I haven't seen it, even Japanese films. So quite surprised. Surprising.
Yeah. So, but because I guess I knew these would be titles that like, and that's the thing I'm thinking as a collector's mind. These are things I want to see. Like where are they? So that's why, and this is how I want it treated. So it's coming very much from a collector's mind frame. So like how we kind of want to see these releases. So so we hope that these are big hard-hitting titles out of the gate, just to kind of show that, you know, we're here to continue and work on films that we love and give them the treatment they deserve. But look, we are exploring other options as well. There are certain films we're looking at that wouldn't suit New Wave. They're more sort of, I guess, more sort of art house, like one of your, we can't reveal the title. We're in negotiations for another title, but it definitely wouldn't fit on New Wave, that movie you like.
Yeah, New Wave is more for like extreme, like horror, dark genre. But in the meantime, like we want to launch the side label for more like mainstream or like a drama or peaceful movies. Yeah. Which I more, you know,
right.
I like.
Well, there's because I think look, don't unstate. You know, Maiko has a great knowledge of Japanese films. I guess sort of more sort of said drama and coming of age films, and sort of like really great. Like she brought some to my attention, and I watched it. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And so a film we're actually in negotiations for right now. But once again, will not fit in with New Wave. The person buying that won't be buying this. Or maybe they will. I mean, I'm sure they're open. So we're thinking like TerraVision have their grave face line. Very similar. We might do something like that where it's more sort of indie films, or sort of like a Japanese sort of. Yeah. I guess So like I said, but they're fantastic films. But obviously, Maiko has a great knowledge about those sort of 90s, 2000s sort of Japanese films I've never heard of, which are wonderful, just wonderful. Kind of like sort of like Carney do, like these wonderful, cute, nice sort of movies. So there's stuff like that we'd love to release. Once again, it just does not fit with New Wave. So we are, and that would be more, Maiko would be curating that line more or less. So the sort of more peaceful films.
Yeah. Now we're thinking about the name for new, like a side label, but more like related to the New Waves, a bit like a beach theme.
Something beach theme.
Sydney related, or but still, hasn't come
yet. We're thinking, and look, and we're in, and look, not to say too much, but we're in negotiations for some titles that would take us to Criterion levels. There are titles that we're inquiring about that are classics as well. So we're very I don't want to say too much, but like I said, it's just negotiations, nothing solid. But we definitely want to try and get more into sort of, like the title says, new waves, like sort of Japanese new wave as well. So films like the 70s and 60s. That's stuff we're looking at as well. So we definitely want to branch out a bit, obviously from the hard-hitting genre stuff, and also obviously, I guess we're focusing on Japanese because it's what we know. It's what we love. We know the culture. I've worked in Japan. Same with obviously Maiko's from Japan, so I guess it's what we're comfortable with right now. But we are looking at the possibility of branching out to one of our friends, William. He's actually from Hong Kong originally, lives in Australia, so he speaks Cantonese. So he's showing us the idea of what about sort of Hong Kong films. I'm like, look, I mean, that's a possibility as well, because there's a lot of great Hong Kong movies. But once again, Japanese would be sort of our bread and butter, but there is possibility of Hong Kong later on, maybe as later on down the track.
Very interesting. There are... Man, we're going to have to talk after I press stop, because I've got a long list of titles that I want to throw at you. There is so much happening with I've covered on my show a couple times how in the last year and a half, I did an active number of boutique labels count about a year and a half ago, and around then there was about 150 active boutique Blu-ray labels that were... they weren't doing like 5 a month, but they were doing at least 1 or 2 a year, so that they're actively working towards things. And yet, so many people are thinking that some of these companies are going to run out of titles, and yet there are corners of this world that have literally never had stones unturned. That if you just put in the work and you get these major titles, suddenly you could be like a major player in the scene here, and that is exciting.
It is, it definitely is. It just, just if you put your mind to it, you never know. Like I said, just and it's just obviously just a process. Be persistent, go after it. Like I said, they can turn you down, but it's worth just having a shot. It's worth trying, and so that's why we were going after these titles and we were getting them. We were like, oh wow, okay. So because I thought we'd definitely get knocked back on one or two of them, but it was like, oh wow. So I guess, and once again, it's just how you present yourself. But I think there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of films that need to be rescued as well. Definitely kind of stuck in limbo. And so there's it's great to hear, and it's an incredible time because there's so many. And like on your page, there's always stuff being announced daily, and it's just like it truly is the golden age of physical media right now.
Well, on that note, I would love to hear what has the response been like. You just got 2 titles put up for pre-order, so the bundle's available. You got a shirt available. How's everybody responding?
Yeah, look, very positively. We were quite shocked. The orders were coming in. Look, it's been good. It's been good. And I think, obviously, being a new label, and look, I would be the same. I'd be sort of on the sideline just waiting till obviously we get them in hand, and then I make my purchase. So I completely understand. There's probably some people just waiting. But it's been very positive. We've had, great reception from around the world. People super positive about the releases. Obviously, Maiko handles the social media, so has that been a bit overwhelming? A lot of the
like every day, also at night, like ping, like and then new floors, and like oh my god, we cannot sleep, and even while we're working. Like main work,
yes,
but still,
on the the phone keeps going.
Keep going,
It's a good problem to have, at least.
It is, and I think, and even since yesterday, since we announced Udoji, that really kind of just went off, and so we've just been having being shared around the world, and we've just been having a lot of messages and people inquiring. So you're working overtime on the social media now, having to respond to everyone.
Actually you do, but also I do try not to skip someone's comments. I try to respond to all
yes everyone. We try and respond to everyone who places the comment, just so we're engaged with them as well, the fan base. But it's been very positive, and people are we just can't wait till people have it in their hands. I mean, we did a pre-order just because, obviously it's people may obviously know, but it's very expensive to manufacture, to get everything in order. Like it's a very expensive process, and then obviously we pay for the restoration, and just costs add up. And so, we could have sort of paid for it up front, but we thought, the pre-orders really help. Really helps us get the business, get the cash flow going, so we can obviously get them in hand a lot faster. And so we appreciate everyone who's ordered directly. It really means a lot, because obviously that support helps us to obviously get the initial releases. And once again, we're not. It's a real passion project for us. We're not, going to be millionaires of this, because obviously everything we make from it goes right back into restoration, into buying new films, into manufacturing, into artwork. So obviously all the costs add up, and so we're very happy to break even and then obviously make a bit more. So the response has been great. So all those people who've trusted us with the pre-orders, it's incredible. So we've sold about, I can say now in terms of stock levels, about 25%, which is great. Look, I mean, we would have been happy with 10%.
Yeah.
So we've had a really good response. And once again, that's just from us. And I can say on the show, I know there's a lot of people that were inquiring about, hey, what about, Diabolic or other retailers? Yes. So please be patient. We have signed with a distributor, and they have all the relationships with all the sort of indie boutique sort of retailers. So hopefully you'll see our titles showing up very soon on their websites as well. So if you are there locally, you can pick it up from them as well. But it's the support's been overwhelming, and we really appreciate it from everyone.
Yeah, it's already happening. They're out there on at least a couple of the retailers here in the U.S. now. I know some people in my Discord got real excited, went and pre-ordered pretty much immediately. This is so cool to see somebody that I've known and respected for so long be able to do something like this. And this is just one of many things. I mean, you've got the imprint cast going on that you're still very active on, obviously. Before we call it a day on the interview here, I got to ask, you mentioned Anchor Bay earlier. What's going on with the documentary? Because I know a lot of us are dying to see that documentary.
Yeah, obviously it's still happening. There was some delays. Look, we interviewed the main people we wanted, but we, how should I say this? It was all guys we interviewed. It was a real sort of,
Right.
a lot of guys talking, a lot of.
It's a sausage fest. I get it.
Sausage fest, yes, trying to say it nicely. And so we really needed some like female Anchor Bay employees to really balance the documentary, because the interesting thing about Anchor Bay, it was run by women. Essentially, they were head of marketing, head of horror. A lot of them are quite obviously. They're a little bit shy. They obviously don't want to tell their stories, but we were able to track down 3 ladies that worked at Anchor Bay, and we will be interviewing them. Michael Felcher is actually going to go out and interview them. And once we've got them, we're done. Because like I said, we just needed that balance, that sort of female balance, because like I said, we want to know more about, the women who ran the company, like that culture. But yeah, the Anchor Bay docker is still coming. Danny is editing it, working on it day and night. And hopefully we'll have an update in the next month or so. But yeah, it's been a long process, but it's something that we're very passionate about as well. And there's been a real interest igniting in Anchor Bay. I noticed that obviously there's an Anchor Bay podcast that's kind of started. So so we're very keen to get that documentary out there, because there's some great stories. We got Bruce Campbell, William Lustig, so some really big names as well. And so it was a passion project, and I have to give Danny credit, because Danny did help me as well with getting our label, obviously New Way, launched, because he is involved with Crawford's, and he's behind all their DVD and sort of Blu-ray releases. They do a lot of TV shows, so he really helped me with the logistics of speak to these people. They do the manufacturing, blah blah blah. So I have to give Danny credit. It was a massive help in getting us from to the manufacturing stage. But yes, so it is still coming. We're aiming for late this year, at the worst, maybe early 2026. But the first trailer should drop soon. Once we get those ladies interviewed, we can finally get it out there. So we're very excited. So thank you for being patient with us. But I guess, as is the case, documentaries do take a while. We were hoping to get out a lot quicker, but we need those crucial interviews, and hopefully next week Michael's going to go interview them, so we should be done. So it'll be coming soon, and I think you've been asking what's going on with the documentary.
Oh yeah, completely. You're working on that documentary, but now, I remember it.
This is so great. I, again, very, very happy for you. Congratulations on all the success. Proud to see all the moves you've made over the last couple of years. It's just exciting. The future is quite bright for New Wave Video and both of you. This is amazing.
No, I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we just hope that people enjoy it. Check them out, and hopefully, and like I said, we're acquiring titles that we think are, some of them masterpieces, like in our opinion. So, if people just give them a chance, then enjoy it. Like I said, once again, they're hard hitting, they're extreme. Like I said, we never intended to, I guess, sort of be an extreme label, but I guess the films we are acquiring, I guess, are extreme to a degree. So like something like, we didn't want to, maybe like Unearthed or something. We weren't really going for that, but I guess the titles that we're acquiring are sort of like that. But yeah, like I said, if you just give them a go, they're controversial, hard hitting, but just wonderful, wonderful films and wonderful films at cinema.
Incredible. Links for everything are in the description below. You can pick up from New Wave Video now. Pre-order those. When is the bundle shipping again here in the next couple of months, right?
Yeah, aiming for mid-October.
Perfect.
So Alex, he's doing our shirt. He's a great guy. Like I've known Alex for a while. He usually goes to sort of conventions and sells really sort of cool punk shirts based on horror movies. And I said,
Nice.
we've got this film coming, Rubbers. It's black and white. It's punk. He's like, I'll do it. So he's done a really cool T-shirt. So you can get the bundle as well.
Yeah.
We're shipping them all out mid-October. And that shirt is a limited edition. So once we close the pre-orders, then that's sort of it. So if you want the shirt, I advise you get on it because it is a limited run.
Good choice. This is great. I'll link the imprint cast below. I'll link all the social media for New Wave Videos so you can stay up to date. And of course, I'll cover every single thing you do because I'm just excited about it. So I'll be here sharing the word. So thank you both for your time. This has been just an absolute delight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.